Welcome back to the #1 channel on YouTube for learning how to sing. I'm Gregory West and I'm a vocal coach. After this video, make sure you check me out on TikTok and Instagram for more stuff like this. Alright you guys, let's play a game. Guess that vocal effect. Got my driver's license last week, just like we always talked about. That one's called creaking, and it's actually made by the vocal folds themselves. This video is about subharmonic singing and how to do it. I already made a video about this like 3 years ago, but I think since my video quality has improved slightly since then, I figured why not update it. Make sure you watch to the end for an extra tip to help you develop the sound if you're struggling with it. So what is a subharmonic? It's two notes, usually an octave apart, happening at the same time. The combination of these two notes makes it sound like there's only one bottom note. The higher note is produced by your normal voice, such as a clear chest voice or falsetto. Ah, ah. But the lower note can be produced in different ways. We can do a subharmonic by using our false vocal folds, for example. A. But the kind of subharmonic we're going to be focused on today is going to be caused by the vocal folds themselves. So your vocal folds will produce both your normal voice and the subharmonic noise themselves. I'm going to be referring to the subharmonic sound created by the vocal folds as creaking, like complete vocal technique does. And this is caused by the vocal folds vibrating in a more complex pattern. Now there's two main ways that I use to access the subharmonic coordination: applying a squeeze or a constriction to the voice and taking away a constriction or squeeze from the voice. The way you go at it depends on the starting point you're using. Let me explain. If you start with a louder, clearer, ringing, more metallic type of sound like this, then the way you get to the creak is actually by relaxing or disengaging some constriction in your voice. But if you start in a softer, lighter, gentler, quieter, more breathy type of sound, then the way you're going to get to the subharmonic is actually by applying a tension or constriction to your voice. Now, when I say constriction, I don't mean it in a negative, derogatory, my throat is killing me type of way. What I mean is basically that your voice is a machine and it runs off of constriction and air. Your vocal folds are these two flaps vibrating together to create the sound, and they're controlled by a complex system of muscles. When you breathe normally, there's nothing getting in the way of the breath, but when you speak or sing, the vocal folds start to come together to vibrate. Your vocal folds require constriction in order to accomplish that, is what I'm getting at. They need it both at the vocal fold level themselves, and they need it above the vocal folds, and we refer to that as twang. Now, when we go for a louder, fuller, clearer type of sound, we actually need more constriction above the vocal folds, twang, and more constriction within the vocal folds themselves because they have to resist more air. If this is confusing you, you may want to check out my video on breath support where I go over this stuff and break it down. So when we're going from this louder sound to a more softer, clearer sound, and you could just basically think of this as a decrescendo, we usually want to let go of that constriction in order to get a nice, even transition. Ah. But in order to get a subharmonic, we have to kind of mess something up on purpose. So what I want you to do is to try holding the position of your voice in that louder, fuller, clearer type of sound, and then as you decrease volume, don't let it go as you get quieter and quieter. What we're going for is to maintain the constriction that the louder sound had while pulling the volume down. And then hopefully along the way we stumble into the subharmonic. Again, you shouldn't get more airy or transition to a more loose or relaxed coordination. Now, if you're doing this, but you're not really getting a clear sound of the creak and a subharmonic, and you're getting something more like noise that just sounds scratchy or something, you're probably going in the right direction, but you just need to refine it and coordinate it a little bit. By the way, guys, please like this video if you're enjoying it, and consider subscribing if you're new. So let's try the other way of getting a subharmonic. So let's start in a relaxed, soft, quiet sound, a tad breathy perhaps, and let's apply attention to it. Now, if you do this right, you won't get a creak or subharmonic, you're just gonna get louder. But we want to do it wrong so that we get that miscoordination of the vocal folds that's required for the creaking sound. So what you should do is try to shoot for that constriction and tension that you need to be louder, but still keep the volume down. Now, if this is working and you're starting to get the subharmonic, your next move is to try to make it as consistent and relaxed as possible. We want that subharmonic to come out nice and consistently. So what if none of this works? Well, then I want you to start by practicing the creak in the very, very low range of your voice, usually what everybody calls vocal fry. In a really, really relaxed way, and try to go at it from chest voice. It's so lazy, it takes no work, you're so tired. This kind of a relaxed sound. And then I want you to practice raising the pitch of your creak. What usually happens to people is they just return to chest voice as they ascend in pitch. We don't want that though. We want to keep the creak going higher as we go up. So once you figure out how to do that, I want you to notice that there's a sort of tension that starts to occur right around here in order to raise the pitch of the creak. And that tension actually occurs right at the pitch at which I would naturally want to transition back to my chest voice. I can actually feel something inside of here moving and sort of engaging that definitely is not when I go back to chest. Well, we can use this tension and apply it to our lighter, more quiet, breathy type of sound in order to get the subharmonic. You can also just try to maintain that creaky sound, but add some voice to it. Now that one didn't sound like a subharmonic, and that's because the pitch was way too high. What we want to do is actually try to take that lower.
Thousand years later.
Remember, once you start finding this, you want to make it as relaxed as possible. It's all about balancing the amount of that constriction that we use. If you overshoot it and do too much, you're gonna miss the subharmonic. If you do too little, then you're gonna miss the subharmonic. All right, I hope this was helpful, guys. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and eviscerate that like button. You can find my email in the description below if you're looking for a vocal coach. Till next time.